Hello and welcome to the home of the Rusty Electrician. Today we're going to be talking about and showing you how to build the ultimate offline raid alarm. Alright, so there's our windmill. Let's go ahead and hook this up. So I've taken the liberty of connecting up all of the root combiners which go on the ceilings and floors, XOR switches on walls. And the power comes into this root combiner, feeds to the next root combiner all the way around till you get to the 15th root combiner, which as you can see here feeds into this XOR switch. It runs XOR to XOR all the way around through our airlock and back to here. So let's go ahead and put up some walls. We use root combiners because they can be placed on floors or ceiling, unlike switches, memory cells or XOR switches. Now you can only place 15 root combiners in a row before you get an error. So at your 15th root combiner, that's when you would run into your XOR switches, and I haven't found a limit of how many XOR switches before you get an error. So this is what you're going to need for your system. You're going to need an XOR switch, a heartbeat sensor, smart alarm, 2 branches, a blocker and a small battery. For all the walls, you're going to need XOR switches. For all the floors and ceilings up to a number of 15, you can use root combiners. If you need more than 15, you'll need to run 2 systems. And I can show you how that's done over in another base. So this is where we're going to place our heartbeat sensor. Put a smart alarm down here. Small battery, blocker, XOR switch, and 2 branches. Okay, now go ahead and wire up from our power output to the underside of our first branch. So this is our first root combiner coming in there. As you can see on all of them, we've got 117 power. 117 power right up to our last one, 117 power. So you can see that all of the walls and floors, all the root combiners, XOR switches take no power at all from the system. Unlike switches which would take 1 each, so you're actually getting the most bang for buck out of your power system. Alright, so left hand side of the first branch down to the bottom of the second branch. Now branches work where you can enter a number. In this case I'm going to give it 10. That means that always 10 is going to come out of the left hand side. If this ever gets to 11, only 1 power will come out of this side. If it's like at the moment 120, it's only going to put 10 out, like you can see here, 10, and it's going to put the other 110, 111 out of the right hand side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that right hand side power and we're going to run it down to the input of our small battery, which is going to charge it. Left hand side of the second branch is going to go to our heartbeat sensor. Power out, we're going to put it to the B side of our XOR switch. Let's put it to the A side. This just happened to be where it ended up. Alright, from the B side, I'm going to run that off the right hand side of the second branch. You can see now it's passing power through. So the power out of the XOR switch is going to come through to block pass through on our blocker, which means that no electricity can come from the battery. And the power out from our blocker is going to go to the power in of our smart alarm. Of course you'll have to pair the smart alarm to your smartphone or your app, your Rust Plus app, before you be able to use it. How you do that is, there's plenty of videos online, but I'll quickly show you. Just easiest way, directly power the alarm from the battery. You can see it's activated. You then hold down E and it would give you be able to change the name, the code. You can have it as wall breach, heartbeat sensor, raid alarm, whatever you want. On this server that we're using, you would come down to Rust Plus, and this is where you would sync it with your phone. I'm playing on the Untamed Creative Sandbox server. This server doesn't have the companion app at the moment. So once you've done that, power out to the blocker, from the blocker to the smart alarm. We'll go ahead and put our wall up. And that's our system finished. Now what will happen is, if someone triggers the heartbeat sensor, it sends power to the XOR switch, which blocks pass-through of power through the XOR switch, which turns off the blocker, letting the battery flow through and activate the smart alarm. XOR switches normally, if it's just getting one power input, will pass whatever power it's getting through, minusing 1. But if it does receive power on both input A and input B at the same time, it'll block power. So that's what's happening when our heartbeat sensor is activated. Alright, so let's go have a look at a medium-sized base and a large-sized base, where we're running two systems in the medium base and how we hook that together, and in the larger base where I've made it a little bit more advanced and tapped off some of the power for things like lights and an automatic loot room door closing circuit that also works off the alarm system. Alright, so here we are in the larger base. This base is also running two systems, but it has been expanded slightly so that the excess power from the windmills is also running lights, and it also has a automatic door opening system. So when the alarm goes off, it'll shut these doors. So if you're AFK and leave the doors open, it'll automatically shut them for you. I will explain how to do that in the next video. So let's get on to the medium base and some raids. Alright, here we are inside the medium base, and you can see the two separate systems, two batteries, two XOR switches, two blockers, two sets of branches, and to combine them all together we're using a OR switch. The OR switch from the blocker outputs runs through to the smart alarm, and it's as simple as that. Alright, here we go. We're inside the medium-sized base now, and our friendly offline raiders are going to come along and punch through a door and show you how the system works. Alright, they've broken the door, they've activated the heartbeat sensor, which is, as you can see, turned on the alarm. Now we'll move on to a C4 breach of the walls. As you can see, it's cut the power which was being fed by the windmill through the root combiners and the XOR switches on the walls, and because of that it's turned on the battery and it's permanently activated the alarm. Alright, so here we are back in our little 2x1 for a solo, or a duo if you don't mind it being a bit cramped. There is space to add in a couple of half walls here and a triangle in front, put some loot boxes up if you want, some sleeping bags and maybe a furnace and a workbench. The system itself doesn't take up a lot of room. Of course you could move the alarm and the battery to whatever position or any place you want and go from there. Build the base how you like. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, if you have an idea or you would like me to build you something, then throw a comment in and we'll see what we can do. Thanks for watching and see you later.